And here we go. Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So today, making money. Demand more of yourself. I can tell you, too many people complain about not getting anywhere. And if they just put the same amount of energy they put in complaining, they'd get a hell of a lot further ahead than they would than just sitting there crying about it. So we're going to talk about that.
It's the best thing I ever did.
So, it's interesting. I went to, by the way, I have a seminar tonight. I have a webinar. You can get in the webinar tonight that is live in an hour and a half. It's in an hour and a half from right now, 7 p.m. Central Time. I'll put this banner up here real quick. Anyways, get into it. If you're out there, you're 25, or even if you're 19, it doesn't matter. That's when I started in real estate, when I was 19. But the reason I say this, I went to a seminar. I went to a real estate seminar, and I was so unimpressed with the crowd of people that came in there. Now, I appreciate that the people came in there to learn, and it's just important you try, right? But at this, I can't even imagine what they thought at the seminar, to be honest. They said, how many people here are looking for a good deal? And I raised my hand. I was trying not to stick out too much, actually. I raised my hand, and only one other person, so 2 out of about 40 people that were in this seminar raised their hand that are looking for a good deal. And the bottom line is, that's probably about the ratio that's really out there. And that's why, so many people are not getting rich. Look, I got rich, and I got it fairly quickly, but I worked hard for it, okay? I started at 19, and that was in 1981, and by 1990, I was a millionaire. And it was hard fought, but it wasn't from being lazy. It was from really just doing things that maybe other people might have perceived as a risk or otherwise. And for me, it was simply, I don't want to be poor. I do not want to be poor. And, hey, Russ, glad to see you in here. Hey, by the way, you can call in. If you want to call in, let me give you the call-in number. I'd love to, get into it with somebody here, talk about anything you want. But, so many people aren't getting ahead. And it's rough. It's rough to watch. I try to self-analyze, and I try to ask myself, he's under my chin here, but I try to be fair. In other words, a lot of people cry and whine that don't try, and that's just how it is. But some people, look, I can tell you, for me, super low comprehension in school. So, but I still got good grades. But the bottom line is, when I took a test, it's like I was taking it 3 times, because I'd have to read the question 3 times before I actually took it in. In other words, my mind would go somewhere else. Call it ADD, whatever you want. It was total disinterest in the subject is what it really was, because I'm super concentrated when it comes to real estate and making money and focusing on how to. Anyways, I just, those of you that are out there, that I had a guy contact me the other day, and in fact, he's going to be in the webinar tonight. So please get in the webinar tonight, by the way. Anyways, and he was saying that he had been hounded by Chris Crone. Chris Crone just all over him, just pounding him with emails, and then pretty soon the contracts came out. And then he started looking at this stuff, and he realized, it didn't smell right. And to his credit, he identified, something didn't smell right. Because too many people, they will sign up or for something without doing their due diligence. And then when they get taken or they lose their ass, they somehow get some consolation in the fact that they get to blame somebody else for tricking them, instead of just simply taking responsibility for it and not letting it happen in the first place. So I don't know. Hey, Russ, what are your thoughts on this? Russ is a great example, by the way. Russ has been in the mentorship for a couple of years now. But before he got in it, he was actually doing very well in real estate. But he wanted to change his game up and get more into commercial real estate. And he's made a couple $1,000,000 at least since he's been in the class in commercial real estate. So again, this is a guy that really is much like myself. He just really hustled from a young age, started like me, very, in his teens, hustling. And listen, you got to do it. You have to do it. If you don't try, if you don't work hard now, you're going to probably work hard the rest of your life. And, I understand, you, especially you savers out there, you folks that have saved, whatever. Right? If you're young, maybe you save 20 grand. If you're, 30, 40 years old, maybe you got 100, maybe you got $200,000 or $300,000. I have people in the class that have saved, almost $1 million. And it's pretty impressive. But again, when you save $1 million and you're 50, you could have made that million in your 20s if you just invested 20 and then the 50 that you made and then the 100 that you made on that and on and on and on. You just got to use your head, and you got to do your due diligence in the people that you talk to, and the people that want your money, or people that are selling you something. You have to scrutinize them so hard. And I'm talking about from the agent that's selling you something, that's telling you this is a good deal, to the guy that's selling you a piece of property, to the guy that's, I mean, anything and everything. Hey, Kelly, glad to see you back in here. Another great, person in the class, Kelly. We got the best brain trust of the smartest people. And I tell you, I got a standing challenge, by the way, to Pace Morby, Jerry Norton, Grant Cardone. I challenge any of them to prove that they have as profitable a students as I have. And also pro rata. I guarantee you, I have in fact, my students have made far more money, and I mean many, many, many times more money than the amount of money I've taken in training. And I doubt that Grant Cardone or Pace Morby can say the same thing. In fact, I'm sure of it, and I'd be willing to bet some money on it. I talk about the way you get ahead is I remember a guy working for me, at a company that I owned, and he was complaining. He says, "Man, I'm hustling on the side. I'm scalping tickets, making money on the side." Like, he was disgusted that he had to do that. I said, and I jumped back in his face. I said, "Shit, what the fuck do you think I'm doing?" I said, "I always got a side hustle. I'm always doing something on the side. I've been doing something on the side since the day I was in high school, or even before high school. You got to do something on the side." But he was acting like, yeah, man, I'm selling tickets on the side to make extra money. Because what, the job? You expect the job to take care of everything? It's that lazy ass attitude that so many people have that defeats yourself. You ain't going to get anywhere. I mean, let me just tell you, if you're not willing to work and look for other ways to make money, the great guy, what's his name? Help me in the class here, because I quote him all the time. Who's it, son? Who's the guy? He's a speaker. Russ, you'll know. He's a motivational speaker. And I'm telling you, the guy would say, don't complain that things are too expensive. Just figure out that you don't make enough. You need to make more. You need to make more. Hey, 954 Drew. Hey, somebody call in. Somebody call in. Let's get a conversation going. And somebody else call in. We'll rip through it a little bit. I'll be going, like I said, you can get in the class with me tonight. Go to get in the webinar tonight, by the way. And son, if you haven't put the link in there, put the link below. But you're going to go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar and get in there. Just get in there. And I've also hit that subscribe button while you're here. You don't want my channel to get away from you. No, not Dave Ramsey. Hell no. Sorry, Andrew, but no. Golly, man, you're getting close. No, yeah, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. In fact, I should pull him up. We should watch some Jim Rohn. This guy is like the grandfather of motivational speakers, and you'll see. I think Tony Robbins might have even worked under him at one point or another. But it's good to keep yourself motivated. But don't fool yourself either. You know what I mean? You have to face it. It doesn't matter. You can't have a pity party. You ain't going to get anywhere. You have to do what other people aren't doing. And like I say, to the credit of the people that did show up to that seminar that I went to last night, and I wasn't impressed with the seminar, don't get me wrong. In fact, it was hard for me I was just biting my tongue the whole time because they were kind of, pushing some of the nonsense, the sub-2 nonsense and some other things. And of course, nobody asked a tough question, by the way. And by the way, when you get in my class or when you get in my webinar, it's like something you've never seen before because I ask the tough questions of myself for you. You don't even have to do it, but I want those questions. I want you to be very, very tough. You should be very tough. Mender Mom, Tony R. What's it? Oh, Tony Robbins. No, I wasn't thinking of, but I appreciate that. Anyways, so what do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to look at? It's funny. I look, at the backdrop you see here, because there's a lot of history in here. There's my old tool bags. That's this over here. I remember that was a big deal when I bought that. That was a staple gun. Everything I bought was something to make more money. In other words, tools, right? Nail guns, hammer, whatever, saws, table saws. I had a cabinet shop. Spending money on tools in order to make money, in order to make more money. These signs, the neighborhood meeting, let me tell you, I've had some real contentious, big, mean meetings. I've sued neighborhood associations, it gets nasty sometimes. You can't be a pushover. You got to get out there and work. And, anyways, but it's not all bad. It's all good, actually. So, anyways, anybody got anything to add? Please do. And otherwise, maybe we'll jump over and look at something. Any suggestions? Let me know. I'll take this down. But hey, get in the webinar tonight. If you're just going to get in the webinar tonight, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. You get the link sent to you. And really, really impressed with a lot of the people that signed up for the webinar tonight, and looking forward to seeing them inside and talking one-on-one. Actually, I'm looking at a Richard Fain video. He seems like a nice enough guy. I couldn't disagree more with a lot of the stuff that he does say. Anyways, what else? So also, yeah, and Russ, by the way, is actually, and I'm excited about your latest deal, Russ. That's going to be very, very cool. And just so those of you just getting here, just so you know, look, in my class, you'll see the kind of results and the kind of the things that you would hope to see and that you would wish and actually probably dream about happening. And so, if you look here above my head here, look, there's Jerry. He made over $2 million recently. Josh over here just about made $1 million now. And Jerry had, before he made the couple million on this building you see behind him, he had several, I think he said 6 or 7 6-figure flips, right? This gentleman here, kind of new. In fact, I love listening to this. I love listening to him talk.
Yes, I'm close on it now. I'm painting now, and don't have probably another 3 weeks, and it'll be listed. Should make at least 100.
Tom here, Flip Anything USA. Got a very special guest here. This is Shane George. He's a fantastic student. He's already made 3 deals. Shane, welcome to the podcast, and I appreciate you taking time here to share your success with everybody.
Thanks, Tom. I'm more than happy to help any way I can today after all you've done for me.
It's the best thing I ever did.
And you really, you've made me proud. And I'm telling you, you're an asset to you're so motivational. You've done so well in such a short amount of time. So listen to Shane here.
Hey, I just cause all the resources I got. Cause I'm a new guy. I don't feel like I know anything yet, seriously. I just
So check that out. He's the new guy, but he's already made about $250,000, and he did it in less than a year. In fact, he made 13 on his first deal and 100, right at about 100 on his second deal, and then on his third deal, he's going to make another 100, like he said. And I asked myself, man, I'm so glad that you came in here. This is just Tom. I can't even believe I'm being interviewed right now. I can't even believe how great this is. Listen. When you see other people that you can relate to, and and there's a bunch of them. I got Chris here, nice guy, 34 years old. He quit working at the church in other words, he was making about $60,000 a year at the church, and now he's making about 3 times that, just buying and selling property. He's already almost a millionaire now, but it's. I'll tell you just need a little bit of guidance. You just need a little bit of guidance. These guys will tell you. In fact, sometimes they come into the webinars, but these guys will tell you firsthand that a little guidance goes a long way. And I'm telling you, it takes decades to get the experience that I got, and it's wonderful when I get to see somebody benefit from it. And, and Rich here, like I said, and Russ here, which we'll be interviewing Russ here sometime soon, I'm sure. Probably several million by the time I get him interviewed. But even Rich that you see here on my right, beautiful investments. He's got, a couple industrial buildings, a couple commercial properties. He's about to have his first baby. He's 34 years old, and he's a millionaire, a multimillionaire probably now. And, these are the things that can happen. And, and all these people, different stories. And there's so many people that I don't have in here that I need to add in here, that I need to update. In fact, it was wonderful seeing this guy here. This guy's great. He actually popped in last week.
Signed this $1 million deal. I've never, done this in my life. I was like freaking out, and after reading Tom's book and being involved in his mentorship, I've been able to make a couple $100,000 on a house, another couple $100,000 on another house, and what I estimate is up in excess of $1 million in equity on a commercial building that I bought. So it's very real, and it's very tangible. So highly recommend it.
So take a look. This is another guy. Most of these guys are anywhere from 10 to 30 years younger than me, and look at that beautiful shop. I was admiring, back here, that's a screw air compressor, which is a really beautiful air compressor. At least that's what I believe. That's what I'm looking at. Because I remember how badly I wanted one when I owned a cabinet shop and I couldn't afford one. But anyways, you can't, you'll never see anything like it. So 9554 Drew says, I have a question on how much money do you need to get started? Okay, we'll call up. Call that number. Call this number, and I'll talk to you about it right there, and we'll talk live. Again, I can tell you, the stuff that I saw in this seminar that I went to last night, I was just blown away at how people talk about deals, but with almost zero backup. In other words, they talk in very ambiguous ways. Like when I talk about real estate, I talk about the deals that I've done, the things that I do, the things that I own, the things that I've made, tens of millions of dollars on. And, and like behind me, you see right here, these are all buildings that I bought. These are ones I bought when I started in 19, in the 80s right here. It's $100,000 here, $100,000 here, 20,000 here, 7,000 here, and 20,000 over here. And then as you pull out, 135,000 here. It just keeps growing. I made 350,000 on a single deal right here. And what's funny is some of you guys are yawning right now, and you go, oh, that's horseshit, or oh, that's bullshit, but you don't look deeper. And I understand some of you being jaded. Believe me, I had a guy the other day, he came in, he was a naysayer. And look, I don't mind anybody being critical. I actually appreciate somebody being critical. But when somebody calls out something as being horseshit and they've given this much, I mean, they're a dumb shit. And I'm telling you, that is what's out there. But anyways, so Drew, let me just tell you, I started with nothing. Okay. I started a business. I was struggling. You know, I went from making, I think, probably $8 or $9 an hour to being self-employed. And it's a very rough road. It's a very rough road, you know. But in fact, I moved into the building that I was renting because it was either go back and get a job and keep my apartment or give up my apartment and move into my building and keep my business afloat. And that's how I did it. And that's how a lot of people do. That's the story of many people. You sacrifice. Oh, good. Hey, we got a call. We got a call in. Awesome. Hey, caller, you there?
Hey, Tom. This is Abel.
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Abel. I had called in before.
Oh, okay. Great.
The contractor. I mean, you might not remember, but I was telling you that I had some money saved and I was a contractor for GC.
Yeah, I do. I have vague recollection. I do remember. I don't remember specifics, to be honest. I got a lot of builders. You know, I'm a contractor too, as you know. So yeah, what's on your mind? What are you thinking about?
Well, yeah, I do have a couple concerns that I think I didn't really ask you last time.
Okay.
I did have a very small experience in investing in the past, and I think that's kind of jaded my view on it, and it's also kind of provided a lot of fear into getting back into investing.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that go ahead.
No, please tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Because see, listen, this is typical. People get ripped off, lose money, and then they get jaded. And where if they just did a little more due diligence in the beginning, they would have had a great experience, or they would have avoided the con job that that made them sour.
Yeah, and I think you said it best. I just didn't do my due diligence. I think I was too idealistic. I was 18 when I first started, and the first deal that I did, I made some money, but then I ran across this individual who convinced me to partner up with him on a couple deals after that, and it ended up being kind of I ended up basically losing some of my money, and then I had to sue the guy. And it was an awful experience, and I honestly don't wish it on anyone. Mm-hmm. But basically, I went to zero, and then that's how I got into contracting, because I already had the skill set of managing people and managing crews. So I just kind of stepped into that and avoided the whole investing scene since 2019.
Yeah, that's a long time to be out of the loop. And guess what? You missed listen, it's always a good time. Don't get me wrong. But you missed a lot of opportunities. You know, you did. You just missed a lot of opportunities.
Yep.
And believe me, you're not alone. You're not alone by any means. And it's a shame. So look, I have a property I'm closing on. I could get into it. I just sold an easement, by the way, for $60,000. And it's part of a bigger deal. But, there's just all kinds of money to be made in so many different ways. But real estate is the source. In other words, it doesn't matter, and I know, and I used to build homes where you see all these, these blue dots. And for every blue dot, that represents 5 pieces of land that I owned in that area. It's like 60, 70 pieces here. And, you're doing the right thing by opening your eyes up and looking again. And you're not, this is the thing. When somebody gets burned, like you've described, what you do is you get the experience. And that experience will stick with you. So check it out. For me, look, it was just a no-brainer. I had an opportunity to buy a building, and I didn't have any money. So I made an offer that included me not having any money. I had a $500 deposit, don't get me wrong. But then I got 6 months grace period before I had to come up with the $10,000 down payment. And so I moved into the building, and so my hedge was, hey, I got to live here and work out of here for 6 months for $500. And so, I had the exact opposite experience of you, because at the end of that 6 months, I easily had the 10 grand because I wasn't paying rent all that time for an apartment or for a place of business. And so, and when I went out to pull the for sale sign out of the front of the building, a guy pulled up and he thought I was putting the for sale sign in the ground. He thought I was selling it, or he thought I was the sign guy basically. And, and he offered me $20,000 more than I had just paid for the property, that I had just closed on. So I got this, wow, 20 grand. I just made 20 grand. I just closed it. I was anxious to pull the for sale sign out because I was tired of people stopping by looking at my property that I wanted. And now it was mine. And so, and this is 20 grand in 1981. Okay. That's like 60 grand today, and that's a lot of money to a 19-year-old. And so anyways, now throw that back on you and you got burned by somebody. And so while you were jaded, I was like excited. I was on fire. I realized the potential there was of making money in real estate because I had a positive experience. And that's why it's so important that when you begin, you do your due diligence and you'll be much, much likelier to have a very, very good story and a very good outcome. So anyways, anybody got a similar experience to Abel? And so Abel, you can share or not. I don't want to ask any questions you don't want to answer. But, do you have liquid? Do you have some cash saved? What do you got?
Yeah, so now it's like I have about 100, 120 saved.
Oh, jeez. Dude, it's a no-brainer for you. You should be a no-brainer.
And I'm not... Yeah, I just, I was going to, and I'm still having these fears that come up, and dude, I'm just like, listen, I'm like overly cautious now.
Yeah, I know. It's like, there's a word for it. In fact, it was out of an old Carlton Sheets book. Carlton Sheets. I don't even know if he was real or not, but he had he had a commercial back in the 80s. But it was what was it? Yeah, it's paralysis by analysis, okay? And really, analysis is what should free you from the paralysis. You know what I mean? Some people are just like, they just dream. They just dream, and that's all they're ever going to do is dream. And I'm not saying this is you. You've got reason for being burned. But I'm just telling you right now, you should be in my class because I know what you're missing out on. And here's the deal. You've got $100,000 that you really don't know what the hell to do with. And you could be, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, so I had a guy recently and I was talking to him and I said, he only had 40 grand. And because there's people I say no to in the class, even if they got 100 grand, I'll tell them no if I don't think they're good for the class. Or, I've had some crypto guys that made a lot of money in crypto and they got lucky and they don't have the discipline. Yeah. They're hoping for the, pull the gear and get a jackpot, but it doesn't work that way. You gotta work for it. But man, it is fun.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably profitable. It is unbelievably rewarding. And, there's, it's just a wonderful thing. And like, I've come full circle, I'm a father of 4 and now one of my sons is following in my footsteps and he is blown away. He is absolutely blown away when he sees the money that I made. He asked me the other day, he goes, Dad, how many buildings do you own? And, and that's, we got to start counting them, yeah. And, and these are the things that you want to pass on to your kids. You want them. I was worried about my kids not being interested, before I got maybe too old. I got dementia in my family and Alzheimer's. I got a mother with dementia. In fact, I just had to go see her today and go, and believe me, busy people. People say, oh, I'm so busy. Shit. Listen, everybody that's in my course is busy. Everybody that's in my mentorship, they're hustlers. they have two jobs. Or they're like you, they're they're a contractor. They run a lot of people. They have a lot of people working. My God, what do I got here? Send a voicemail.
Yeah.
And so yeah, listen, I'm telling you, Abel, this is a no-brainer for you. Okay. And you've been into my webinar, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I've
dude, you're
just
not
read
even.
your book.
You gotta. Are you going to be in the webinar tonight? I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know what? I may.
Yeah,
I'm going to join and just yeah.
If I don't see you in
some
the
more
webinar
questions
tonight,
as well.
I'm not going to let you in. I'm not even going to let you in if you don't come to the. I'm telling you. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. Because you're pissing away time. And you know what I mean? I'm just telling you, in the time that you've been thinking about doing something, you could have done something. You follow me? And it's never too late. Don't give me, and this isn't a hard pitch, believe me. I seriously, I don't squeeze people to do anything. Everybody knows, that I'm like, hey, no pressure here at all, because you gotta want it. If you don't want it, you're gonna fail. If you don't, you gotta want it. You just gotta want it. So, hey, somebody else call in here. Not that I'm bored with you at all, Abel, but what I mean. Look, you got burned on some money, but you've since, you've licked your wounds. You got $100,000 in the bank. Have you bought anything real estate wise? Do you own your own home?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part that you said.
Do you own your home?
No. I'm currently renting, and then I just dipped my toes in the water again, and I did do a small deal, but it was very small. And so, but I do need guidance because I do feel like there's still a part of me that doesn't want to go full throttle.
Yeah. Well, listen,
that I need to go full throttle, but yeah.
Listen, if I was teaching somebody how to swim, I wouldn't throw them in the deep end. You know what I mean? You have to be careful. And, I have people that the first thing they realize when they get in my class is that they screwed up. They already bought something they shouldn't have purchased. In other words, they start to go, are they in the middle of something? Yeah. And I'll go, oh yeah. Better just take the loss. Don't buy it, because here's the deal. Let's just say you put $5,000 down on something, and then after I go through and I look at it with you, I'm like, well, you know what? Better you lose $5,000 than lose 50, because that's where it looks like where you're headed. And so those are the kinds of things that you need to hear. And there's a saying out there. People that love you will tell you what you don't want to hear. People that you just want to take advantage of will tell you whatever you want to hear. You know what I mean? And I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell them, because that's listen, that's how I don't want to be like the fake gurus that I hear all the horrible stories about. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I've been chipped and ripped and
and they're out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's out. Yeah,
and they're out there. Those Grant Cardones, and they're all a bunch of bullshit. Like even the small experience that I have, I know it's a bunch of bullshit.
No,
what that guy's talking about.
Even even in the beginning, I thought Cardone had some chops for motivating people that work for somebody else as a business, right? And I did a great interview with the guy, and he said, you know what? He goes, I listened to some of Grant's stuff, and I hustled at work, and it seemed like the 10 times thing, and I don't know what it is, to be quite honest, but he said, but he goes, but just like Grant Cardone extrapolates that success he has as being a great investor, which he's not. He believed it. He believed, I thought, well, he treated me all right on this. And so, he's got a whopping 4%, maybe, I don't even know, something like that, coming in on his $200,000, which is pathetic. You know what I mean? In other words, I'm just telling you, where, like I say, I've got guys that have $250,000 and even $1 million cash in their bank account that they didn't have the year before. And, that means something. Mm-hmm. And like I say, you can take, and I'll just say it again, I don't care if it's Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, any of these guys that are so popular, I'd be happy to show me your best student, your best, or take your top 5. Mine will trounce them in profitability, in skill set. I mean, no question in my mind. Anyways, so listen, Abel, get in that class, get in the webinar tonight, because you're going backwards. I'm just telling you, you're going backwards. And listen, I wouldn't be so emphatic about this, but you've been burned. You've saved $100,000 and you don't own any real estate. Do you understand? I for most of my life, I couldn't stand if I had $10,000 extra available to me. I couldn't wait to sink it into a piece of real estate that would return me more. You follow me? In other words, I don't want the cash means nothing. I mean, a little bit of cash, I want it to be invested in bringing a return, or invested in getting it doubled and then redoubling or tripling, or that's how. And so look, and real quick, because there's somebody that's new here. Alberto, yeah. So I would need more details, Alberto. He wrote, hey, Tom, I came across a commercial lot, 0.33 acres, 28K on a busy highway. Well, it sounds like something you should buy right now, or certainly tie it up. Tie it up immediately. But, get it tied up, and I don't know, it sounds good to me. Although, I actually have a student recently that had what he thought was on a highway. He thought he had highway frontage, but what he didn't realize is he had a 10-foot strip of land in front of him on the highway that he did not own. Or maybe it was about a 40-foot deep strip, and all of a sudden it's like nothing. It's like nothing. He can't do anything with it. It's threatened in a big way. Russ wrote, Tom, real estate is picking up in my area. I'm writing a lot more offers. Buyers are starting to jump back into the market. Some properties are multiple offer situations. Well, so it's funny how fast that has changed for you, Russ, because it was hot, then it wasn't, and now you're saying it's kind of getting hot again. And, look, I'll tell you more in private in the class, but I've, also have, I'm seeing a little more action myself. Actually, I closed one deal today, sold it, picked up a check for $337,000, $399,000 actually, and then I've got another one closing that's a couple $1 million plus, April 5th. And then, and so, the money's starting to flow out there. But I know where my money comes from, but other people, some people are starting to suffer. Some people are losing their jobs, and, you just got to be careful. But, there's always an opportunity. Like I said, I've made money for 43 straight years, and I bought property every year in those 43 years. And I've only bought, a couple hundred properties, only on average, maybe 5 or 6 properties a year. Sometimes I bought 20 in a year, and other times maybe one. Maybe one year I didn't buy any. I don't know for sure. I can't remember that specifically. But, it goes back to Jim Rohn, right? I think this economy it's not good right now, but we're adjusting to the higher interest rates. And believe me, you think this is high. This isn't even high. And Russ, because I told you, I didn't think the interest rates would go down for the next 2 or 3 years. And I still don't think they will go down. And other people talk about, they're going to go down in 2024. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. There's no reason to believe it. And it's not that big a deal. It's really not that big a deal. I started with interest rates on average 10%. And, I show people this book. This is my first $1 million that I made right here. It's in this book right here. These are multiple HUDs, different. There's land, there's houses, there's buildings. There's my first $1 million that I made between 81 and 1990. And there's not a note in there that was less than 10% interest. And so the rates, it doesn't matter. In fact, if you can get something that pencils, that when you're paying 10% interest and you get something that you can buy it and have a 10% interest rate and it still makes money, I mean, you're pretty golden, okay? You're pretty golden. You get that, and especially right now, if you believe that interest rates are going to go down, and I don't think they're going to go down anytime soon, but I might play with a little bit of money. I'm taking a handful of houses, and I'm holding them. In my basic thinking is on that, the houses that I'm buying and holding, I'm buying them 100 grand under market, every one of them. I won't hold on to a house that doesn't have $100,000 delta, okay? And so I'm holding it. If the rates go up, that may shrink a little bit. I may have a delta, maybe go down to 50,000. But when the market corrects, one of two ways. Either people are going to start making more money, they'll start making more money, and then they can afford to pay more, and or the interest rates will drop some, and then they can afford to pay more. But here's one thing is for sure, and you guys all know it. Listen, you can't go to a food trailer and buy a hamburger for less than $18 in my town, okay? I mean, everything. I drove through Chick-fil-A this morning with my son, and it was $20 for 2 chicken egg tacos, no hash browns. And I'm telling you, we all know how expensive everything. Everything is far more expensive than it was 3 years ago, and hopefully that's going to change here in another 12 months. Get some new management. So, anyways, Russ, what are your thoughts on that? Why don't you call in, Russ? Always good to hear from Russ. But yeah, Alberto, yeah, I mean, get in listen. If you're just getting here, number one, hit the subscribe button. But get in the free webinar tonight. It's going to be going on in 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, and you can be talking live with me, and I will show you the properties that have made me a multimillionaire many, many times over. This is my first million in the 80s, and then tens of millions of dollars since, and kind of where I'm at now in Texas. And you can see every one of these properties you can see, and there's a lot of them. All these properties, every one of those, 100%. I personally found them, negotiated them, bought them. Some I still own. If I flipped one, it was to buy something for much more. And just to give you a quick example of that, in fact, see, because listen, this is the kind of bullshit that you can't trust anybody. When people say, they tell you how easy it is to make money, well, damn it, make them prove it to you. See these here? These 3 apartment buildings, I bought these apartment buildings. I made a couple $1 million on those 3 apartment buildings. I'll show you another building. I made $1.5 million, just under. I paid $240,000 for this building. I sold it for $1,725,000, and I made $1.5 million. And before I made the $1.5 million, guess what? I was making $60,000 to $90,000 a year income on it. I got all kinds of big buildings, but that's not all. I bought lots of houses. I bought and sold lots of houses. I made millions of dollars in this one little neighborhood here. In this little neighborhood, same. I go out here. I got another neighborhood, made a couple $1 million out here. Anything you want to look at, I guarantee you're not going to find anybody with more experience than me. And I say that because I can say it. This is 50 acres. I made over $2 million on this. Made over $2 million on this piece of property right here. 180 homes are sitting on it now. And, again, and so, I think his name's Mark Harris. Mark Harris, kind of a rude dick, wrote in on one of my YouTube channel, made a comment, and I wasn't very kind to him. And I tell you, well, I don't doubt you'll never be able to do it. And he say, hey, go after yourself. And I really wish, Mark, if you're out there, call in. I'd love to have a conversation with you, because you're just the kind of naysayer that I would love to talk to. And I don't even condemn you for being skeptical, but you're a bit of a jerk, and that's okay. I love to fight, and so let's talk. Again, there's just, these are houses. This is actually this is the piece of land I just hope to sell here pretty quick. This building right here, I still own that. It's a beautiful big building where people build things and send them all over the country. And, I love that stuff. I tell you, another big building I have here, and, food trailers, food parks, warehouse, third generation companies and some of these things. Anyways, so look, if you just got here, look, get into the webinar tonight. It starts in 1 hour. You got to go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Instantly, you'll get sent a link before the show. You'll get a link. You get a Zoom link. You come in and you'll be live talking to me. And I don't care if there's one person or if there's 40. It doesn't matter. Everybody will get each and every, if you even have any questions. Let me tell you how thorough I am. I ask every question that every one of you should ask. Everything. How much did you make? How did you do it? All the things that are so important, that people don't ask. Proof of concept, proof. Why should I trust you? Have you made any money on land? Yeah, millions. Have you made any money on houses? Yeah, millions. Have you made any money on commercial buildings? Yeah, millions. In other words, these are the kinds of things that people don't do. And then, if you've been jaded and you're bitter and you don't do anything, that's on you. And I understand it, and I don't condemn you for it. But anyways, last call for somebody to call in. There's the number right there. Give a call in. It'll be the last call that I have on this program tonight, if anybody does call in. But step out of your comfort zone. I'm just telling you, you are never going to get anywhere if you don't try. And I'm not saying don't do anything stupid and foolish. And like I say, the one thing I tell everybody is slow down. Get your knowledge base going before you do anything. Because if you go out there, some people procrastinate and they go, finally, I'm just going to do it. But when they say they're just going to do it, they're like throwing money down on a blackjack. They're not doing any of the things that they need to do. They're not getting their skill set. They're not developing their mind. They're not understanding the market. They're just simply going, okay, I'll do it. And then they're throwing money, and then they get burned and jaded, and it's their own fault. But, nevertheless, I still have empathy for those folks. So no more questions tonight. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Get in there. I'll show you how I made my first million in the 80s when I was in my 20s. And let me tell you, I've had a charmed life, okay? Charmed life. I've never really hurt for money. I've been in some tight pinches here and there, but relative to the amount of money that I've had, it's been a blessing and fantastic and wonderful. For all these years, my kids, I've taken them on, huge vacations. We go to vacations, twice a year, and we'd go for over 10 days, and I remember my kids, or some friends talking, and the kids were talking, and one of them, they heard me say, they go, Tom, where are you going to go? I think we're going to probably go to either, Hawaii or, I don't know, we might go to Cancun again. And my kids go, not again. Okay, they were sick of the beach. It's pretty funny but I remember the impression that it made. These other kids were like, what? And believe me, when I was a kid, I remember when my folks had a Hawaiian vacation, they went without us. The kids stayed home. The kids went without us. I'm sorry, the parents left. We stayed home. Oh, good. Oh, looks like, hey, we got Russ. Got to give Russ a little time here. Hey, is that you, Russ?
Yep, it is. I figured I could call in. But yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying, Tom. Real estate is the best vehicle, to make money, especially if you're starting with nothing. Yeah, it's hard in the beginning. You really have to hustle, but it's like building a snowball. You start off small and then eventually gets bigger and bigger, and then it gets easier as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got it. And like I say, Russ on the phone here, he's in the class. I know him well. He started young like me, teenager, paper route. I didn't have paper route, but you did. But but we did different things to make money when we were young, and it wasn't long before we realized, hey, the money's in real estate, and so it's really fantastic. And like I say, in Russ like me, 4 kids, and but he's 30 and he's a millionaire and multimillionaire, and these are the things that you can do when you got your shit together, and it's just cool. You got a beautiful family, and me too, and we're both blessed. But we weren't, we didn't. we didn't win the lottery. We earned the lottery is what we did. And so
Right.
it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Tom, and I wanted to thank you for everything that you did for me. I mean, a couple of years ago, like you were mentioning, I started young. I was in real estate. I was fortunate enough to discover real estate, but I always looked at those commercial buildings, the skyscrapers, the big warehouses, the retail stores. I was like, how do I get into that? And then one day I'm on YouTube, land, and then somehow I come across your channel. And I started listening to you, and it's like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I was like super, thankful that I got into your mentorship. You took me in, and just this last deal, I mean, I'm thinking I made at least $1 million.
No.
I mean, this was what, a couple of weeks ago, if not more.
Yeah.
And then a year before that, I made another deal, like 1.5 on that one, if not more.
No.
So, I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, Russ. It's absolutely awesome. And like I say, I'm so thankful that you put your trust in me. This is a guy that was already doing quite well, but he wanted to get to a different level. He wanted, like I say, he was a mystery about the commercial buildings, and we kind of removed that, and we've done a lot of stuff actually, haven't we? Covered a lot of different aspects, but it's been a blast. Yeah. It's been a blast, and I tell you, you've been a great asset to the class too, and this is all part of like I say, we just got the best and brightest in the class, and not endless, mindless, stupid calls. These are everything's action. I'm an action guy. Russ is an action guy. Everybody in the class is there to make money, and if you're not there to make money, you're in the wrong place. Because this is a boiling pot of money makers and people that are hungry and busy. When people say, yeah, I'm so busy, you ain't busy compared to anybody in the class. So, anyways, but yeah, so thanks for calling in, Russ. And so, what do you think? Why is it getting so busy in your right now? Russ is also a broker.
Yeah, so I'm noticing a lot of buyers that were sitting out, hoping that the real estate, market would crash 50% or 80%. They're starting to realize that's not happening. Mm-hmm. And they're telling me, hey, we don't want to, miss out on buying and then have properties go up in value, another 10, 15, 20%. So all of a sudden, all these buyers that were sitting, some of them with cash, others are willing to pay the higher interest rate. They realize, like, hey, rates are not coming down. And I'm out there writing offers, showing properties. I got, other brokers working for me, showing properties. It's getting busier. And a lot of properties are going above the list price. We're getting multiple offers in theirs. But that's in my, part of the country. It might be different wherever, everyone's located. But that's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Just because people are realizing, hey, the market's not crashing 50%. Let's get on it before it's too late.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is the market just has to stabilize, and that can mean different things to different people. But like I say, okay, it's stabilized. Okay, it doesn't seem to be getting much worse. It's not. It's plateaued. At where it's at, or at least it's leveled out. I shouldn't say plateaued. It's not like it went up and then plateaued. But in other words, it's stabilized, and that's what That's what all business. Every businessman in the world. You look for stability. You don't like gambling. You're not a gambler. You're a money maker, and so you look for stability. You don't want to throw your money into something that you don't trust. You don't know if it's going to go. You don't throw your money into something that you don't know if it's going to sink or float. And so people are getting comfortable with, okay, it looks like things are going to float, and I don't think they're going to get any worse than they are right now. And once you have that confidence that things aren't going to get any worse, and I'm not saying that's true of every market of anywhere by any means, but I'm saying for an individual, that's what I look for. I'm going, okay, I can see a path that this is sustainable, even if maybe, for me, if things get a little bit rough, that's okay. Maybe my hedge is the interest rate is reasonable if it's own or carry, or if it's, like I say, if you can make sense of a deal that you're paying, 10% interest on, then you're probably going to be okay. In other words, if you, and that's how good a deal you should have, is that even if you had to pay 10%, it should still make money. If you put 20% down, 25%, it should still cash flow and make money, even if you're paying 10%. If it doesn't, then you're making a mistake. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It just matters that, you have a nice, a nice profit, after the dust clears, after you pay for things. And I've been looking at some properties that have some, nice, very good, they're real beautiful assets. They're poorly managed. There's room to crank them up. And, in other words, raise the rents. And I look for stuff like that. I like to find things that I can buy and I see that the leases are coming to an end and they're under market and I can raise the rent. So I can take something that's a 6% deal and turn it into a 9 or 10 cap, just by making a few adjustments over the, the terms of these leases terminating and coming up. So a lot of, this is gold that, for people that are listening that don't know that, that's one of the ways we do it. So, and like I say, really excited.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So I recently was reading that there's some instability. There was some kind of bank in New York that had a liquidity issue. Do you think that could pose a potential threat to real estate, or is that like an isolated local, small little bank? Or do you think there's a bigger issue that we're looking at?
Look at what was the name of the big bank? The Silicon Bank. It wasn't even FDIC.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so it wasn't even insured. And guess what? Our government bailed them out with our tax dollars, and they weren't even insured. Absolutely terrible. And so when you see stuff like that, this is the problem. That's probably the things that is the most unstable for all of us is our government. We've got a guy that doesn't know which way stage left and stage right is. He doesn't know where he is. He forgets what his title is. We've got weird stuff going on that doesn't inspire confidence at all. And so, and then the high inflation, we got, gas, we're buying gas from our enemies, and all this stuff it doesn't bode well. It doesn't give you a sense of confidence, but people are starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. They're thinking that maybe in another year, we're going to have somebody a whole lot better. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And it's inspiring. I feel much, much better that the current management has shown itself to be terrible and is on its way out. And so that inspires confidence in me. So we get comfort from different things, but I don't think listen, New York's already committing suicide anyways with the stupid stuff that they've done. They're anti-cop, and now they got, there's just terrible crimes being committed across the city, the state, in many places now. And so with that happening, everybody's trying to get the cops back that they chased away. So I don't know. And you're in one of those areas too.
I am, but I mean, I'm not in downtown, but
no, and I know, and I sorry to be so hard on your town. Right. I know, but no, I know there. And listen, every place.
Hey, but I mean, that spells out opportunity for me,
Sure.
So if that keeps other investors out, and hey, there's more cheese for me, more opportunities for me.
Right, but wouldn't you?
I take advantage and make money on this.
Right. But when you see that, maybe they're going to lure the cops back. Maybe they're going to start treating cops with more respect. Maybe there'll be more law and order in the town.
They're actually recriminalizing hard drugs right now. The governor should be signing that law. So Oregon was trying to experiment where they would, I believe they tried to decriminalize hard drugs. And that's where we ended up Now they realize, maybe we made a mistake.
Yeah,
so they're taking a step back.
It was interesting because I was listening to former President Trump, and he was talking about when he was visiting with Xi. I forget his title, President Xi, whatever, of China, and he's saying, "Do you guys have what's the drug? What do you got drugs?" He goes, "We don't have any drug problems. No drug problems at all. No drug problems." They don't have people, like zombies in the streets like we do here. They don't have any of those problems. They make the drugs over in China, but they don't have the drug problems. And the reason is that if you're a drug dealer, you go to the front of the line to get the death penalty. They put you to death. In other words, you get a quick trial and a quick execution. And that's why they don't have a drug problem. And like, Mr. Trump says, he said, I don't know if America's ready for that, but that'll get rid of the drug problem really quick. So, it's just like in the Philippines.
It's a terrible thing that.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just terrible what, the drugs did, to my beautiful town here. I was born and raised, and it's just terrible what happened in the last, 6-7 years with those hard drugs. You get all these young people dying in the streets, and the quality of life went down.
Hey, we were fentanyl free. It wasn't even coming over the border anymore 3 years ago. Now, the deaths are like, I forget what, it's some crazy, multiple of deaths now compared to what it was. And, I've got a nephew dead, fentanyl. I've got a friend of mine,
terrible.
His son dead, fentanyl. And, they're putting it in everything. And a lot of kids, it's, at some point, every teen usually gets faced with, trying some sort of drug. But everything seems to be laced with fentanyl now. And it's just so extreme powerful. It takes away the involuntary things that your body does. In other words, the breathing. All of a sudden, what you take for granted happening automatically. Yeah, go ahead.
I had another real estate question for you.
Sure.
So another reason one of my clients jumped into the real estate, market trying to, grab something ASAP. So he was reading an article where it was saying the U.S. debt goes up by about $1 trillion every 100 days, and this has never happened before. This is like the fastest that we're ever accumulating debt. So $1 trillion every 100 days. And the thinking behind it is real assets, because of inflation, there's so much dollars out there, real assets are going to go up in value. He just doesn't want to be left in the dust. What do you think? Do you think there's some truth in that?
The bottom line is look at Venezuela. Okay, I've got there's like 86,000 Venezuelans I think have come over the border in the last 6 months or something, some crazy amount. And but in the Venezuelans, I just actually rented a house to a Venezuelan couple and their son. They're two, because the son's actually on the part of the lease, and great people, wonderful people. They've only been here 2 years, and it's kind of like taking a risk having somebody that's only been in the country 2 years, but super clean. He goes, Tom, let me show you. And he showed me a video of his beautiful home. And he says, I don't have anybody living in it. I have somebody, making it look like it's full. And he says, he said that, and I have, Venezuelan startup businesses that are in some of my buildings, in some of my food parks. And they're telling me and my friends that, they say, yeah, no, what's happening to the U.S. is what already happened to us. They're romancing the uncultured, the poor, the drug addicted, the scum, basically, and they see that's what's happening here. And so when you let the scum and the worst of people, have a vote. Then they can vote to take the money from the people that do work, the haves, right? In other words, the have-nots can take everything from the haves by voting. And that's how they've pretty much destroyed Venezuela, from what I understand, from the people that lived there and have fled there and now live here. And so, does that answer your question a little bit or give you some perspective? You know what I mean?
It does answer it. I think that Venezuelan, I forgot they have a peso or whatnot they use over there. Hyperinflation ruined their economy.
And what's happening here?
World.
We got inflation going like crazy. But I'm just saying, if you have people that don't know, that are just, and that's our problem in our country in general, is that it's self-serving representatives, self-serving politicians, and that can't wait.
So if
so
if inflation keeps going, if they're printing so many dollars, will real estate continue to increase in value, or they can manipulate with interest rates and
the government doesn't control the interest rate. So and really, like, Powell, he's late. He was late to the game raising interest rates. He should have done it earlier. But now that he's done it and he's holding it, we're getting closer to that 2% inflation mark cap that he wants to keep it at. The problem is we had like 8% the year before. And so, everybody knows how expensive it is. Listen, you could say, inflation is only 1% this year. Yeah, but that doesn't make up for the 8%. And I think the 4% before that. So in other words, we're just suffering terribly. Because, it's like you double the prices on everything and then take 10% off. It doesn't feel like a discount anymore. So, so I don't know, Russ, the only, I say it in class, it's the only thing I know for sure is I don't know for sure. And it's because of the intervention that can come from a terrible, disorganized and corrupt government, and I'm kind of counting ours. They do terrible things. They do, it's like Reagan said a long time ago, there's nothing scarier than a government representative coming to your door to tell you that they're here to help. You know what I mean? So, and you see, look, our borders have been open for 3 years. We might have 30 million new people here now that we can't take care of, and it's more expensive to take care of them. So it's just kind of a terrible situation. So I don't know. To make it short, I don't know, but I will continue to make money.
Time will tell, right?
Yeah, well, and not everything has to be a long-term deal, right? In other words, you can still buy and flip. I hold plenty of rentals. A couple 100,000 square feet, and I'm comfortable keeping what I got. And I'm happy to buy more to flip. I'm doing it. I'm buying. So obviously, I think you can always make money. You just have to buy relative to the market. Did you get those homes pending?
Did you get those homes pending that you listed, or are they still on the market?
I'm getting lost on which ones we're talking about. I bought
the recent flips, the father-son deal that you did.
Yeah, I'm starting to take a little bit different strategy on one. I got one actually. I'm expecting another offer on today. So yeah, I closed one today, and then at the first father-son's flip, and then I've got another one that I'm expecting another decent offer on today. I didn't hit the number that I wanted. Remember, I told you I went from 435 and I threw it down to 399 to get a little bit of a bit, leapfrog. So I'm starting to see a little bit of the results coming back on that, and so we'll see what happens. But other than that, I got another one that I just closed paid cash for. That in fact I'm walking my guys through it tomorrow. And very specifically, we're just going to knock it out very, very quickly. It's going to be a very light renovation. And I finished the one I've been dragging on for 2 years that you've seen plenty of in class. That wrapped today. That's done. In fact, I just bought a jam cutter in preparation for the 3/4 inch thick maple flooring that's going in. So, yeah. Anyways, there's nothing like it. And Russ, what a great example. So look, those of you that are watching, look, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. I'll show you real quick to where to go. Just right up here, you can see, click on webinar. And all you got to do is fill out your name, last name, email, put your phone number in there, and I'll send you the link. I don't have any salesmen that'll harass you. I don't employ salesmen. So just give me that. I'll get it to you, and you can be in the class in a half hour when it starts. And now I'm going to try to grab something to eat before then. So, but anyways, hey, thanks again, Russ. Look forward to talking to you in the meeting too, by the way. And we'll talk more about this stuff.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Russ. Take care.
Yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. Bye.
Yep. Bye. All right. So, hey, everyone watching, again, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Get in there tonight. You can see me in a half hour. You'll get a link sent to you, but fill it out right now because about 10 till is the last time the link goes out. Otherwise, you can, put your phone number in there, and we'll text you the link if we need to. And anyways, thanks again, Russ and Abel. And Abel, I sure as heck hope you get in that webinar tonight. Somebody like you just don't know how much money you're losing. You're saving money. You got all the disciplines. You have all the disciplines of a good investor, but you're not investing. That's terrible. That's terrible. So anyways, hey, thanks everybody. Again, hit that subscribe button, and look, we'll see you in the webinar tonight. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.